Hello, Patricia. Hello, Fotios. It's a pleasure to welcome you once again. You are almost veterans in this conference, the second day of conference here. It's a pleasure to moderate this discussion with you. Both of you are the experts on AI applied to the legislative process. I will bring some provocations to hear your considerations during our conversation. Basically, I will bring a question. I will ask one of you to answer, and the other one can comment on the question and on the first person answer as well. Basically, the idea is each answer is supposed to be around 4 minutes, so we keep on time. We know artificial intelligence, AI, can be used to enhance the democratic processes within parliament houses, helping civil servants and members to increase the quality of the deliberation process as well as the oversight of the executive power. Basically, we hope this discussion will spotlight the cutting-edge strategies for a robust AI application in the legislative process. I don't know if you followed our program yesterday. We, at the end of the day, discussed some of the applications of artificial intelligence, the drafting process, most notably with Kirsten sharing their case in the U.S. House of Representatives. I'll follow up with my first question here. AI application is the hype of the moment in different social and economic sectors. It has been proven, though, that parliaments can use AI to effectively enhance the legislative process. However, it must be considered in the context of its digital transformation strategy. I'd like to focus on this. My question is twofold. What is the level of digital maturity for a legislature to consider an AI strategy to enhance the quality of the legislative process? And the second question attached to the first one is, what are the necessary steps to be taken by legislatures before considering investing time and resources on it? Patricia, would you like to start?
Thank you, Luís. I would like to thank you again for being here. It's a pleasure to share this moment with you and Fotios. Yeah, well, despite of being pointed as one of the most important alternatives to solve corporate problems, artificial intelligence has not been tangible for many parliaments, we must admit it. Maybe because deciding for applying, for adopting AI services is not an isolated decision. I do believe it must be part of the parliament's strategy. It must be embedded in a higher purpose. By this way, AI can be easily understood as the unique alternative to reach a few goals that depends on high capacity to make a complex analysis in a short time on bills, laws, amendments, technical studies that support those bills, speeches, citizens' contributions in a variety of opportunities, things that are absolutely impossible to be done by humans only. But however, before deciding to invest in digital services based on AI, one should identify what is the first problem that I want to solve through AI. Do I have the data necessary to this investment, to this initiative? I mean volume and quality of data. How do I care of my data? Do I have any process to manage the whole life cycle of the data? If I don't, do I intend to build a data governance process to raise the guarantee of having trustful services, trustful data, and to establish a relationship among all actors that must decide concerning everything that must be done with those data? Do I? A bit more, do I have a skilled team, IT team, to be responsible for the algorithms and responsible for data governance. We know that invest in one direction implies invest in the second direction. With all the decisions made by the algorithms must be explained by the data. And a final question, how do I intend to skill my IT team to develop algorithms, or even to manage contracts and partnerships concerning AI services? We know that the AI learning curve is too long, and a few institutions have decided for buying AI services. It's a good solution. It's a good alternative. The unique suggestion I gave is considering such contracts all requirements that you would use if you were developing inside the department. Everything, since the data collection, training, special concerns on avoiding biased results, and before sharing the data, sometimes anonymize a few of them. All the details must be written in the contracts. Another alternative can be establish partnerships with universities to develop the algorithms while the knowledge is being transferred. It's a good option too. The unique advice I gave is the IT team that will be in contact with the university must have a minimal skill to guarantee that will catch the knowledge. In our case, in Brazilian House of Representatives, we have used the three alternatives: developed inside, by sometimes, and partnership with university, depending on the case. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. Fotios, would you like to comment on that?
I will first start by fully agreeing with Patricia that parliaments need to start with a strategy. Now, many parliaments have nowadays an institutional strategy. What they lack often is a digital strategy. So in this sense, I would say one should have to begin by trying to figure out how the own institution would develop in the next year and build a strategy around this, both an institutional one and a digital one. Now, to come back to your original question, beginning how mature a parliament would be. Well, now this is the fine thing. By definition, technologies around artificial intelligence, which is not a single technology, by the way, it's a rather fuzzy term. They are by definition disruptive. So a parliament does not need necessarily to go step by step and in 20 years reaching a level of maturity that will enable the use of AI. No, you can also use under certain conditions, obviously, AI being a rather underdeveloped parliament digitally always. So that's the fine thing around that. There's no limit or boundary where AI cannot be used to advance and strengthen your institution.
Thank you, Fotios. Patricia, would you like to, for 1 minute, comment on what Fotios just shared with us?
I totally agree. We don't have limits.
Okay, I can move it to the next question. Moving to the next question. We discussed during the conference the requirements for legislatures to consider the digitalization process and an AI strategy applied to enhance the quality of the legislative process and the legislative production. I'd like to focus on the areas an AI strategy can effectively enhance the legislative activities. What are the main areas of attention, and what are your recommendations to other legislatures when considering it? Fotios, would you like to start?
That's a tough one. Main areas of attention. Well, we thought of this very hard with our team, always also a few years ago when we started doing our first steps with AI. And remember, internally, the Parliament does not have such a huge number of IT experts that would enable to screen all technologies and see what's going on. And technologies develop with such a fast pace. So we have built a team both internally that spans internally and external to the Parliament, to academia, to the private sector. We call it the Hellenic OCR team. And we try to speed up this process. And we've quickly found out, well, we need to find a methodology to assess which parliamentary sectors require action, AI action, since we speak about artificial intelligence. And we did the following. We developed a methodology to do this assessment. And we started from scratch, meaning we mapped the number of competencies a parliament people and employees within the parliament have. Sort of a job description, but we broken down to single competencies or tasks, if you wish so. And we came out with a number of 220 plus tasks. Wrong. We came with a number of several hundred tasks, which belong to a number of 220 plus core parliamentary competencies. 220, imagine. And we tried to link each one of these competencies to a certain AI application. For instance, the former speaker from Estonia said we use AI system to do speech-to-text transformation. This is just one, and we identified over 220. By the way, in the chat, I will put an open access paper from earlier this year that sort of describes this process and the result of this process. I'm putting it right now. It's open access. It's open for you to see. And based on this assessment that I already mentioned, these hundreds of core competencies that can be linked with AI, yes, we thought, well, and how to prioritize. So which one should we first tackle, which next, and which should we maybe left out? So we did an additional mapping, and this is actually the one that appears there in the paper, in the article. We asked a few dozen of parliamentary experts around the globe from 24, 25 parliaments. I think there were 32 experts from 25 parliaments to prioritize these artificial intelligence actions for parliaments. And we came up indeed with a few ones, for instance, in the legislative and so on, that need to be taken seriously into account. And why is that? Because simply we do not have the capacity nor the money, the resources to invest in all of these technologies and in all of these applications. So we need to be selective. And this is what we try to do for in a global scale. But I suppose at the end, each parliament that is really interested in that needs to do that for itself. So this article offers a rough approach and estimation. What could be these technologies that are interesting for the future? But if a parliament is interested in introducing AI, it should do it by itself, and we can offer, of course, assistance to do it.
Thank you, Fotios. Patricia, would you like to comment on that?
Thanks. I totally agree with Fotios' concern regarding the importance of prioritization. We won't have human resources and the budget for everything that we want. Never, never. So I totally agree with the importance of prioritization, and very interesting the method of collecting areas and tasks, candidates to be automated, to be a focus for use AI. I think it's something that sometimes we neglect. We don't give the right importance. I think the two major pillars of the legislative activities are the lawmaking process and citizens' participation process. Focus on the lawmaking process. I think AI algorithms can be highly useful to look for similar technical studies, laws, bills, considering semantic analysis before the law writing, to be used by the lawmakers' experts, to identify impacts of amendments and the bills and other bills or in laws. Imagine how it could be useful for complex analysis, impact of one thing in another. We always see transcription. It's very common, speech transcriptions from voice to text. It can help save a lot of money. Yes, sometimes translation for a few parliaments. And on the other pillar, transparency, citizens' participation, interaction with any kind of interaction with the citizens. One can find web pages reorganizing automatically the whole content of the website according to the citizens' interest. Here we have already invested on it beyond the others that I have mentioned. And another alternative is semantic analysis on the text of the citizens' contributions, identifying the most important arguments in favor or against a specific bill. In our case, we use it in our electronic polls, because in our case, our electronic polls is not limited for asking only if you are in favor or against a bill. We invite citizens to leave comments along with their votes. So we have some cases, 1 million contributions for one bill in a week. Another alternative can be semantic analysis on the speech of the members, identify the most important arguments concerning specific themes, and associate them with the bills that they are voted, that they have already voted, and make it available to the citizens. We have already been asked for it many times. Chatbots can be always useful. And a special concern on chatbots, because you need to have a team to take care of it all the time as a mediation. So I think those are the two main pillars. And other alternatives can be made concerning administrative issues, administrative tasks. Depends on what you want to prioritize, as Fotios said. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia, for your consideration. Now we are moving to our our last round of today's conversation about AI applied to the legislative process. And my question is, we know the application of emerging technologies and the intersection between the legislative process and the digital transformation is quite a complex and technical topic, since it brings together two dimensions of a research. It's common to see the misinterpretation of the application of AI in different areas of the society. My question to you is, how can we explain an AI strategy applied in the digital transformation in the legislative to MPs in a way that's clear and understandable? Patricia, would like to start?
Yes, it's a challenge, but possible. When designing the strategy, we usually connect the strategic goals to the systems, to the digital services that will help to reach those goals. I like the approach of showing real problems we have and how they would be solved through AI services. So they would be solved by digital services, and connected those digital services, the AI services, to that strategic goals. Thus, the starting point would be sell the benefits to real cases of your parliament, because it materializes the perception of the benefit. You can show the same case in other institution, it's always useful. And concerning the benefits, I think they must be sold as much tangible as possible. I mean, a high-level understanding of the citizens' thought concerning each part of a bill. Yes, but where do you use it? So you must say a high-level understanding. There are considering 1 million comments, 1 million contributions through electronic post per week, or impact of amendments in a bill, impact of 300 amendments in a bill, and you get the results in 2 seconds. Things like this make the benefit more tangible. If you say cost reduction, yes, cost reduction, how much? In which range of time? So I think it makes difference. And while you are explaining, one useful tip could be try to say that you will split the algorithms in 2 blocks, and you have to a first block with AI sources that offer high-level information to the members and to those that support them in the lawmaking process due to high complex analysis. But the last decision will always be made by the members. I mean, those algorithms will respect the autonomy of the members. And a second group of AI services limited to administrative tasks, they have more freedom to decide by themselves. And make it clear, if necessary, write it as part of a policy. And I think following such steps, a few misunderstandings can be avoided. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. Fotios, would you like to comment on what Patricia just shared on my question as well?
Well, when it comes, and I'm not saying something groundbreaking here, when it comes to the dissemination and to the mere explaining of any novelty in parliaments, this is a challenge, and everybody knows that works only for a few months in a parliament, because parliaments are usually organizations that heavily rely on tradition that they don't want to change. The corona pandemic has changed that. It has shown that it is possible for a parliament to rapidly adjust to changing conditions. Of course, they were quite threatening, but this shows that it is in principle possible. What I would do to communicate that to the MPs or to my colleagues is well, this is what I have done it already. So I can tell you what I did. Whether I am successful or I will be successful, that's another story. What I did is I tried to offer tangible results and demonstrations to them, not only give them talks. People hear too much. They listen all the time to all kinds of information, wrong or right. So they need facts. And in our case, facts were generated by my team and they had the form of actual implementations that we try to provide and results that we of the things that we analyzed. This means that a few people in the organization or a network need to work very hard in order to deliver proof of concept to MPs and the leadership. If this is not happening, then a parliament can only rely to the information the leadership becomes from other peers, from other parliaments. Therefore, also interparliamentary organization and cooperation is important. For instance, through the IPU and the Center for Innovation in Parliaments. I think these are the two things that are important. There are, of course, many more that you can think of, but on the one side, institutional cooperation, on the other side, so a high-level approach and a low-level approach by parliamentary experts that are interested in this kind of technologies, and they are ready to take on this challenge to introduce them into Parliament. Both things are important if a Parliament wants to rapidly proceed towards this kind of digital transformation. It is not mandatory. Parliaments need to carefully assess, because of the things Patricia mentioned, they need to carefully assess the situation. There's lots of wrong, faulty data, biased data out there. So careful assessment, both on both ends, high end and low end, is necessary so that the Parliament at the end reaches an educated decision on how to proceed.
Thank you, Fotios, for your consideration. We are reaching the end of our discussion today, and so I yield the floor for 30 seconds for each one of you if you have any final thoughts, so we can finish in time. Thank you for the discussion. Patricia, would like to start for 30 seconds?
Yes, I thank you. Again, thank you for the opportunity. And I just would like to advise the audience, if any legislative house want to start with AI, start with something with low complexity and look for collaboration. There are a few legislative houses that are open to contribute. The Brazilian House of Representatives is a case. I think the Hellenic team is also another example. Look for collaboration. We do need it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Patricia. Fotios, would you like for 30 seconds to share your final thoughts?
Well, just to say that these technologies are moving forward so quickly, and parliaments are changing at the same time. So it's very hard for few individuals to have at all times the knowledge and the capacity to work on this front. because everybody works on many things at the same time. So without cooperation, nothing can be achieved here. I suppose the role of a few beacon parliaments, so parliaments that utilize or see these alternatives first and try to utilize this, to tap this potential, their role will be important because they will be able to showcase to others, look, we have done it and we have done it in this way, so that this knowledge can be further disseminated. That's on my end, and give it back to you, Luís.
Thank you, Fotios. Thank you, Patricia, for such a good and qualified discussion. It was a pleasure to be your moderator today.